We are back. Hard pass. Back in the building. It's that time. Y'all know the mini series by now. NFL Spotlight, Miami Dolphins, Remy Brennan. What's up?
Dude, this is the one. This is the one.
Maybe.
It's our year, dude.
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
Super
Or bust, honestly.
So, this is the third of, we started with the AFC East. We started with the Jets, of course. Now, hopefully y'all watched that one. That was the beginning of all of this. Now we went to the Patriots, and now we're in the Dolphins. And there is some synergy on how I'm releasing these. I hope you notice how
I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing.
There's some synergy. So we're gonna get into the Dolphins depth chart. You already know the business. Tua.
That is gorgeous.
Look at this thing right here.
That's a work of art.
Actually,
it's a work of art.
Y'all came so far from where it was.
The hype is real.
We got Tua in the building. We got Teddy. Real, Teddy B. 2-glove Teddy. Teddy 2 gloves.
Teddy and Tua, dude.
Teddy and Tua. So we're gonna start with the QB room. Where do you think? What's the ceiling for this QB room?
Number one.
Ceiling's number one
in the NFL. MVP.
Tua.
Calling my shot. No. This is, in my opinion, the number 2 quarterback room. I know if you watched the last one, there was a little disagreement, we'll call it, between me and Terry. This is number 2 quarterback room. Okay. And if we're going to go on quarterback room, it's by far the number 2. Because I would much rather have Teddy Bridgewater in an emergency situation than Brian Hoyer. But I'm going to say...
You know what? That's true. I didn't think of that.
And I think Tua's just going to have a better flat-out season than Mac Jones. And
he is calling his shot. Close. And let me go and let y'all know something, ladies and gentlemen. He is so far buried in this Tua corner that they ain't no coming out.
I am Tua-non. I am Tua-non.
He's kind of a big deal on Twitter. You should definitely look out for his tweets. My man loves some Tua. If rightfully so. I like Tua as well.
Ball out this year, dude.
But like I said, I think
it's the number 2 quarterback room in the division. Clearly, that other disgusting team we haven't talked about yet has us beat, but not for
okay. All right. We'll go into the running back room, which y'all have completely flipped.
Completely overhauled.
Completely flipped. Chase Edmonds, Raheem Mostert, Sony Michelle, and then don't you love the 4th string?
4th string.
Look at here
From the starter the last, 3 years to 4th string. I love seeing it. So this running back room for me is, I think it's a massive upgrade from where it's been. The
more and more I'm looking at this, more and more I think we got this one wrong. I think this is the best running back group in this division. You said the Patriots have the best running back.
The issue is, and I love this, don't get me wrong, I like the idea, the strategy. We've got multiple guys that can run the rock. They're all going to play their own roles. Chase Edmonds, a great pass-catching back. Mm-hmm. Mostert, who comes from San Francisco, where he had a lot of success under Mike McDaniel, if healthy, is a star at that position. He's one of the fastest running backs in the NFL. Sony Michelle's a guy that's been slept on his whole career. I mean, he literally averages 4.5 yards a carry and just doesn't get any carries. So I think they're deep. I don't look at any one of these guys as being like, that dude's a number 1 running back at all times.
Okay.
But I like the depth. So I think that's where I put them behind New England, is I think New England has 2 dudes that could be like, these guys are number 1 running backs. None of these guys are number 1s, but I think as a whole, it's still going to work out because I think they're each going to have their own role. And the way, just look at what the 49ers have done. Look at what the 49ers did for Raheem Mostert. And so I think it's going to be interesting. I think they're going to have success.
Remy smoking on that Dolphin pack.
Dude, I'm hype. I am hype.
So we're putting the running back room at number 2 in the AFC East.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 2. I think maybe we have to come back and visit this one, halfway through the year. You might have this one a little wrong. Pass catching. And boy, oh boy, once again, going out and adding, I don't know, arguably the best wide receiver in the league.
I mean,
in Tyreek Hill. You already had the young stud, my boy, Jalen Waddle. I have him in Dynasty in one of my leagues. I love him. He's awesome. He's electric. And of course, Cedric Wilson, the big he's a kind of a lanky guy out of Dallas, right?
He's a slot guy. He'll be a good slot guy. I mean, he's the reason we let Devontae Parker go. Like we knew, like Cedric Wilson's going to be the guy. He's a guy out of Dallas who a lot of people felt like had he got more opportunity because he was kind of buried a little bit in Dallas that he would show out. I think he's going to do well. I mean, especially for a third wide receiver. Now, in all of this, you got to remember Mike McDaniel's history in San Francisco is a run-first team. They're a run-first play-action team. But when you look at all these pass-catching weapons, it's going to be such an interesting offense. There's speed all over the place. There's just unbelievable playmaking all over the place. It's going to be interesting. But this wide receiver room, this is number one wide receiver room. Like pass-catching room, because we are including tight ends, this is the number one pass-catching room in the division. Not even close, bar none. Like you said,
it's up there in the league.
Tyreek Hill, top 5 wide receiver in the league. Jalen Waddle had one of the best rookie years we've ever seen. You know, it's weird because you get caught up behind what Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase just did. But when you look at Waddle, he set, most receptions by a rookie in history.
Well, he was a stud. He was a stud.
Really
like you said, I love Mike Gesicki.
And Gesicki's a hell of a pass catcher. The speed on this offense is nuts. So this is the best pass catching room in the division.
Hands down. It's not even close.
And the most unheralded thing that no one really talks about, we went and got us one of the best fullbacks in the league, too.
I was about to say, Alec Ingle is a stud.
He's a hell of a fullback.
He is.
Throw him in there. Like I said, this is a 49er style offense.
And then we're moving on to the O-line. And you went out and got one of the best left tackles in the league.
Don't get me wrong. I think this room is massively improved from where it was last year.
But
it has to be.
Yeah.
It just can't not be because they were awful. But I still think that this is the worst offensive line.
Just imagine if Austin Jackson was just anything.
If he pans, if Jackson, who was a first-round pick, and Eichenberg, who was a second-round pick, who's now a guard, if they can play to anything close to what their potential is, this offensive line can be very good.
You want them just to be average.
Yes.
They can just be average.
If those two players are average. So if you look at our offensive line, Teron Armstead's one of the better left tackles in the game.
One of the best.
Huge free agent pickup, massive upgrade. Eichenberg, like you said, was a tackle. We drafted him as a tackle. He's being moved to guard solely because I think just talent-wise, he's one of the more talented offensive linemen we have on the roster. This is where it gets weird. Connor Williams has never been a center in the NFL. We picked him up from Dallas, moved him to center. Apparently there's a reason for that, though. A lot of the stuff I'm hearing out of training camp, he is a strong dude, and Mike McDaniel wants a center that can move people out of the way from the center of the offensive line. So that's the reason there. Robert Hunt last year, also just another young offensive lineman. He's going into year 3. Played his rookie year as a right tackle. He's a big dude. He's massive. So he's a little out of position at right tackle, so they moved him to guard. Had some growing pains, but by the end of the year proved he's a starting NFL guard. And then the big one is right tackle in Austin Jackson. And
we'll see.
Drafted high, first-round pick, should have some talent there. He's still a big question mark. My concern with this offensive line, my biggest concern, if there is one injury, this whole thing goes to shambles. Like, if you look at the second row on there, it's not good.
Do we think this offensive line's better than the Buffalo Bills?
No.
So we're putting the O-line.
I have them still in the last position.
4th.
Still massive upgrade, but I still think until they show me what they are on Sunday,
right,
I'm going to say this is still the worst offensive line in the division.
Okay. Not a good sign for your boy Tua.
I mean, I still think when I say that, but I still think it's going to be a good offensive line.
The ceiling is doubled.
Offensive line is pretty good across the board. But we'll see. Like I said, there's two weaknesses. If they step into form,
you know what?
Could be a good offensive line.
The other day we had a question on our live stream. By the way, check us out on Facebook, and of course YouTube. We do a live. We kind of talk about everything. We had a guy come in and ask us an underrated offensive line. Who would that be? And I think this could be one of them. Maybe halfway. It could be. I think definitely ranking it number 4 is the correct way to go about it. But this one, has a high upside as an offensive line. So we'll see.
I would have I would have went and got another dude. I've been looking, and I mean, there's clearly something going on, but J.C. Tretter, the center for the Browns, who's been a pretty solid NFL center for most of his career, he's still just out there. And I looked at it when we signed Connor Williams. I thought, hey, go get J.C. Tretter. We've got the money. Keep Connor Williams at guard, and then all of a sudden this offensive line turns into something. But I think there's something going on with Tretter, because the fact that he's still a free agent this close to the season makes me think something's going on there.
Moving on to the D line. Of course, you have Christian Wilkins. Of course, it's a 3-4. You run a
3-4.
Run a 3-4, but you got some boys.
When I tell you that this D line, this is one of the most unheralded defensive lines in the entire league. If healthy, this defensive line is going to be a problem. We run a 3-4, but these guys go and get it. Christian Wilkins is one of the better last year. So I had some concerns after the first year. Christian Wilkins last year proved to me that he's legit. Raekwon Davis is massive. Look how big he is.
He's an animal.
6'7", 300-pound dude, 330-pound dude. He's massive. So he's going to be holding down that nose tackle spot. He got hurt last year, missed some games, but he's back. Agba is one of the best pass-rushing big defensive linemen in the league. And if you look at Zach Sealer, Christian Wilkins' backup, one of the most underrated dudes in the entire league. The dude just comes in and performs. He's your basic-looking white dude, nothing special about him. But when he comes in, he makes plays. So this defensive line is very, very good.
Are we saying
potential to be one of the best in the league?
We saying 2 or 1?
I had this pulled up because I wanted to look at them side by side.
1 has Von Miller in it. You think so?
1.
Okay. I can't really argue with you. I like the guys. I like the fits more than anything.
Yes. I think that's the big key.
I definitely think the fits here. I think, like you said, you look at Von Miller's defensive end, he's more of an outside linebacker, where he doesn't put his hand in the ground. But, okay, we'll go number 1 here. I can't really argue with you. I think you got a nasty front 7.
Dude. Yeah. I'm telling you, dude, the hype is real this year. This team's going to shock some people.
Moving into the linebacking core. Of course, you have the one and only.
The gangster, baby.
The gangster.
He just makes plays. That's all he does. He makes plays. He makes things happen. He looks like a special teamer out there, but he just makes plays.
This dude's a stud.
Second most sacks out of the rookies last year, behind only Micah Parsons. Now that's
you was questioning this pick.
I was questioning it because he was one concussion. He literally had retired from football at one point and come back. So I had some question marks, but clearly the talent to rush the passer is there. He 8.5 sacks as a rookie last year. Really good year as a rotational pass rusher. Hopefully you see another big step come from him. But, you also got to look at Melvin Ingram, who is on the back half of his career. But on a third down, he can still go get it.
He can still get it. I'm putting him number 2.
So the question mark for me has been for this team. I like Jerome Baker. I think he's a good linebacker. I don't think he's an elite linebacker. He plays well in space, though, which is why they like him.
He's an athletic big guy.
He's a sideline-to-sideline guy. He gets a lot of sacks for a middle linebacker. Now, the other one is a Landon Roberts. And a Landon Roberts, to me, is the one position I look at that could be an upgrade. But he's just a thumper. That's what his job is. He hits hard. He's there to stop the run. But we didn't have a lot of draft picks this past year because of the Tyreek Hill trade.
Tyndall.
But this was our pick. This was the one pick that we made. I don't think he'll play a lot this year because he's got
where he's from?
He's still raw. He's a Columbia kid. Yeah, he's a Columbia South Carolina kid. But I think he could eventually step into that Landon Roberts role for sure.
Okay. So I'm giving the linebacking core the second.
I think second as well.
The second in this division. Moving on to the secondary. And boy, oh boy, do you got some ballers in the secondary.
Do we? So
this dude right here, if y'all have never heard of Xavier Howard, and I get it, you don't watch a lot of
the
Dolphins.
I get
I get it. He is unbelievable.
He's getting slept on, dude. Like the top 100 started last night in the NFL. He's like 56th. Last year he was 17th after the 10 interception season. People don't.
He had 5.
He had 5, but he also won us multiple games by making plays, just by him going out and making a play. It's not always a pick. It could be a fumble recovery he picks up and takes to the house. It could be just a timely pass breakup. He does so much for this defense. He is the reason our defense has been able to play so aggressively. I don't know if it, like I said, a lot of you might not have watched a lot of Dolphins games over the past few years. We engage 8 blitz more than anybody in the league.
Anybody ever.
Because we have 2 corners that we believe in.
I like this guy.
My thoughts on Byron Jones are what they are. The kid that you have on the screen right there, if you haven't heard of him, Javon Holland, he's one of the best young safeties in the league. He's going to become a stud. I'm thinking potential like Pro Bowl style season this year. This secondary, Brandon Jones is, as you love to call him, his old blitz boy. He's a solid safety. He's not the best in coverage, but he's a really good, strong safety. And we got Byron Jones, who I have a love-hate relationship with Byron Jones. I was told he's shut down. He's not shut down. I'll go ahead and tell you that right now. He's not a shutdown guy. He's good. He's good. He's a
solid corner.
He
gets paid like a great corner.
Yeah, that's the issue. Corner. He doesn't get burnt too many times. He will on occasion, but he doesn't go get the ball. He just doesn't get it.
I like your secondary. I think the Bills still have a better secondary than you guys.
I think this is the best secondary in the division.
The Bills have 2 bona fide safeties. They still have some good. They have a good corner.
I know. Well, if he's healthy, Tre'Davious coming off a major injury. So
I can't. We're giving you the nod at quarterback on the homer pick. So we're gonna give. I gotta say 2 here. You're gonna say 1. I'm gonna say 2.
I'm gonna say 1 because when you go look over, and while I do agree, Poyer and Hyde at the safety position
are Pro Bowlers.
That's great. They're fantastic. Their number 2 corners, Dane Jackson.
He's not great.
Their number 2 corners, Dane Jackson. I've never even.
Yeah, I don't know, but dude, if you're talking about it, it's tough, man. Those safeties.
And like I said, I agree. I mean, Tre'Davious White's a hell of a football player.
He's a good player.
Coming off a major injury.
Yeah.
Don't know when you'll be back.
I'm still giving a nod. And you know what? I'm also a Bills fan, so.
I know you are. You're a homer, dude.
I'm not a homer. Remember
none of this by me was.
This
homer.
is kind of homers.
This is all based on factual evidence.
You know what?
And don't sleep on Thomas Morstead, baby. We got us a punter. Let's go.
I'm not about to sit here and talk about punters. So real quick,
is real.
So we have QB room. I say 3. You say 2. Running back room 2nd. Pass catching is of course number 1. O-line 4th in the division. That's kind of a wait and see on that. The D-line, you're saying 1. I'm saying 2 in the division. Linebacker 2nd in the division. And secondary, we're saying 1.
I said 1.
That's a big year.
I'll give you 2.
It's a big year.
This football team wins 12 games.
This football team wins 11 games.
It's a good team.
This is a good team. Good, solid team.
Line holds up.
To be fair, they would have been. They reeled off all those wins in a row.
Dude, the fact that people like the media and like social media, people freak out when people say, "Oh, the Dolphins might make the playoffs this year." They literally, in the last 2 years, have come 1 game away. We won 10 ball games 2 years ago. We won 9 ball games last year. Mm-hmm. We've literally been 1 game away the last 2 seasons. Is it that outrageous that a team that last year went 9-8, who adds Tyreek Hill, Teron Armstead, Connor Williams, all these pieces, is it that outrageous to say that team wins 2 more games than it did last year? I don't think so. I think 11, 12 wins.
I don't know you guys care about this, but while we're recording this, the Braves just went back-to-back against the Mets. So there's your nitpicking.
NFL spotlight.
NFL spotlight, baby. Woo, we're here. So